comes to installing the pipe on the CARF SU30, the pipe comes in two parts. So you can see the pipe itself, which is a very good dual wall pipe, and then you've got the bell mouth, which is this guy. So the process here is pretty simple. We will just insert the bell mouth into the top of the pipe. And when you're happy with how well it sits in the pipe, you have 3 holes. They're pre-drilled. 1 right there, whoops, 2 and 3, and I'm just gonna mark those, drill, and the hardware kit that comes with the pipe has the M3 screws that are very similar to these guys. You can see some of them in there that you use to secure the bell mouth to the pipe. So just like that, you can see the lock nuts and washers are outside and the bell mouth is on. So the next piece is getting it in there, and that one is going to take a bit of work. So the pipes can go in either through the back or the front, so you can go in through that way even with the bell mouth on, which is kind of nice, or you can go in through the top. So they're like that. We need to do a few things. One of the things we need to do is actually get the cone and the sort of retaining piece. So these came separate, and I just inserted this in here. And we're gonna figure out where this sits so that it can support the pipe. Per the manual, the pipe needs to be situated so that it leaves about 10 millimeters between the lip and the pipe. So the pipe should be inside of the cone by about 10 millimeters. So we're gonna go set that up, and then we will use CA to tack sort of this in place. The reason I'm doing it that way and not just assuming is because I want to make sure that I mount the pipe, because I don't know what angle the pipe is going to be, if it's going to sit like that, like this, or like that. So I can't really secure this until that pipe is sitting correctly the way I expect it, and then wherever that sits, we will glue it. So we're going to do that, and we'll be right back. So you can see the pipe is inserted. That piece right there is still not glued in place as I'm test fitting everything, but I've marked 10 millimeters on my caliper, and I'm just gonna check that that is pretty much the distance that I'm getting. Yeah, so that's pretty decent right there. I guess I can move this in a little bit more, but yeah, so you can see that I'm getting roughly that 10 millimeter gap all around. Situation in the front, and as you can see, let's see, the pipe is kind of stuck in between, and I will need it to go further down. So I'm gonna have to open up those rails, get an actual engine here, and make sure that when I place the engine where it's supposed to be, that the pipe sits level. I already installed that pipe. That's the right side of the plane. So I have a pretty good idea that the pipe here should be sitting about 31 millimeters from the back. So that edge should be about 31 millimeters from the back. Obviously, with the SU30 from CARF, this was not made by CAD or something, so not everything is perfectly symmetrical, so it doesn't mean that I'm going to mount it exactly 31 millimeters from here, but that's a good starting point. So what I'm going to do is get an engine, position it here, and then we're going to sort of drop the pipe down until it's perfectly centered. And at that point, we're going to go to the back. We're going to glue the supports that are in the back, that hold the pipe in the back. And then we're going to mount the arms for securing the bell mouth to these rails. So I just placed my engine in there, and I like the placement, so that looks like this position is where the pipe will stay. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply CA all around those rings in there. And just for measurement, it looks like the distance between the end of the tailpipe here and that brace, that mounting former there, is about 75 millimeters all around. So just using my caliper, going from here straight down, that's about the measurement. So with that, I'm gonna go show you what the front looks like, and then we're gonna proceed with the rest of the mounting. Situation at the front of the jet, and you can see I had marked this right here. That's right around the 31 millimeters that I was talking about, and so it looks like that's gonna be the perfect placement. And you can see 31 millimeters again is marked right there. So it looks like on this jet the symmetry is going to be pretty good. So with this mounted here, I'm going to leave this sitting like that, and the reason is the bell mouth is kind of squished in between these two pieces of wood. So I'm going to leave it that way because I want to mount the clips that I used to secure this, and then I'm going to CA those to this carbon fiber here. And once I have the placement that I like, then I can sort of pull the pipe out. I've already marked the spots, enlarge in this, and then everything should sit just exactly the way I want it to. So we have these aluminum right-angled brackets, L bars here, that CARF provides for us to mount the pipe. And so what I've done is, you can see I've cleared the edge. It used to be sharp like that, cleared the edge around there, and same for this other guy. This one's a bit of a pain in the ass, but we're going to start with this. So what I'm going to do is just secure this to the bell mouth as well as best I can, and I'm going to try to CA that in place so that I lock that position temporarily, but we're going to drill through and secure it. Alright, so I have CA'd that aluminum bracket to the carbon fiber on both sides. So now I'm going to remove the engine. Looking at it one last time, it still looks like it's bang on in the middle, so that's perfect. So we're not going to remove the pipe. We're going to secure those to here and finalize how we're going to mount that onto the wood rails. Here's what I'm going for, and you can see that that CA held up just perfectly. So what I'm going to do is epoxy around these aluminum brackets with the cure overnight, because you can see, like on this side, in order for it to sit correctly, there's a bit of a gap. So I don't want to secure drill through with bolts, because that's going to change the angle, but I can fill that gap right there with epoxy, and when that hardens, then I can secure this correctly with screws. So that's why I did that, and then once that's done, we'll worry about drilling the holes to actually mount this guy in the jet. Finally, it's been a few days, and here I have finished off the mounting of the pipe, and you can see I just basically drilled the holes, marked the 31 millimeters from the back, and then placed the pipe down on both sides, and then just drilled through and secured the pipe down. The other thing that I did is obviously extended the rails, so I'm going to be using a Zycoy X132, and it was just a little too tiny. So what I did was glued a piece of ply that goes all the way under the bottom of this piece to the wall, and then added this alternative piece here, supplementary piece, and that's on both sides. So now I'll be able to secure my turbine pretty easily in there. When it comes to mounting the aluminum, so you can see right there we have that screw, and that's how this is held to the cone, the bell mouth, and you can see this is where it was epoxied. So epoxy plus screw means not going anywhere. Here's a tail cone with the support structure glued in place, and as I said, the distance from the top of the rim to the base of that, when measured perpendicular, is about 75 millimeters. So that's it. We're gonna move on to the rest of the plane. on reaching the pipe screws that are all the way on the end there. So you can see that this tool right here is at an angle. So what you're gonna need is something with a ball end. So let's see if we can get this to focus. Right there. So that ball end allows you to be able to screw those screws at an angle as opposed to straight. So that's one thing you're gonna need. For that, you need is some sort of right angle tool. So you can see what I have right here is my right angle drill. And basically what happens is I take the pipe out and then you're able to go in there at an angle, sort of like that, and drill the holes that you need to. So, bit of a pain in the ass, but definitely doable. That I added BVM heat shield. The jet is upside down right now, so when the jet is right side up, even though the pipe is pretty good pipe, I just added the heat shield so that heat, which tends to rise, doesn't actually wind up, you know, bothering the fiberglass. It shouldn't. There's a big air cushion around, but I like to do this on all my jets anyways, so just more prep for the turbine area. And then with that, we're pretty much done with the wiring on the back. I'm not going to worry about afterburner lights. I don't think I'm going to get them on this jet, so the wiring is pretty much done.